What's good? It's your boy Shay coming back at you with another LNC NBA playoff update. As always, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and select all so that way you don't miss out on a single NBA playoff update. Breaking news: Scottie Pippen says that Michael Jordan was a horrible player before Scottie Pippen got to Chicago. Ooh, boy. Now, full disclosure, in the 90s, I was not a Jordan fan nor a Pippen fan. I wasn't a Bulls fan at all. I was an Indiana Pacers fan.
First on Miller. McKee gets it in the middle for the win. It's there! 4/10 of a second.
And also, Michael Jordan should have been suspended for Game 7.
Lead by 10. Jordan the steal. That's a technical. He throws the ball at Jackson in frustration.
He thought Jackson tried to take him out, so Michael's going to get a technical on that play.
But that's another story for another day. Scottie Pippen said that Michael Jordan was a horrible player before. Everybody has seen the small little clip so far of this.
Like, I seen Michael Jordan play before I came to play with the Bulls. You guys seen him play. He was a horrible player. He was horrible to play with. He was all one-on-one. He's shooting bad shots. And all of a sudden, we become a team and we start winning. Everybody forgot who he was.
But nobody's talking about the entire podcast. Scottie Pippen was on Give Me the Hot Sauce podcast with Stacey King, former Bulls player and Bulls announcer Stacey King. Stacey King and Scottie Pippen literally just sat and was hating on Michael Jordan this whole podcast. The framing of the questions were ridiculous. And we're going to get into a few things that were said on this podcast, and we'll just break it down from here. So let's get into it. Let's see what Scottie Pippen and Stacey King are thinking about Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
Speaking of The Last Dance, I know we all talked about it. A lot of the guys talked about it. A lot of the guys didn't, we knew it came out of Michael's perspective, on how The Last Dance was portrayed. A lot of guys were like, man, some people didn't get enough credit. Some people like yourself didn't get enough credit. What was your take on The Last Dance?
I didn't really need the credit, but I thought that it was definitely something that was more geared towards Michael and his perspective of how he saw the team, how he saw himself separate from the team. I just thought it was really something to hype up his career, to make him more relevant in today's world. If you look back at where the game is today, we're 23 years into, pretty much 25 years since we won our last championship. So no one really remembers the Chicago Bulls, especially a lot of the kids that are now coming into the game. They weren't even watching basketball. They were barely even born. So that was really, I felt like it was something that he did to sort of bring himself back and really give this modern day era an opportunity to see what his playing was like in the NBA.
Only thing is, Scottie, what do you mean that nobody remembers the Bulls? Nobody remembers Jordan. Like, I could have swore that Jordan's shoes are still like the number one selling basketball shoes in the world, possibly. So I'm trying to understand how you get that, Michael Jordan only wanted to do The Last Dance to let the newer generation know who he and the Bulls were. This is kind of weird, but let's keep going.
Pip, because Denver swept the Lakers, ESPN all of a sudden had 4 hours of airtime to fill. So last night, they ran the last 4 episodes of The Last Dance straight through. And, it was interesting watching that final game 6 of the 98 series in Utah. The excruciating pain that you had to endure to get through those games. Looking back on it in hindsight, are you kind of amazed that you were able to get through that game and to be able to contribute to a clinching win like you did?
Yeah, I was pretty amazed. I mean, it's pretty painful for me to go back and look at it. But it was some excruciating pain. And I don't think if I had a chance to do it over again, I would do it. And secondly, if we had to go to a game 7, I wouldn't have been able to contribute. So I really sort of stuck it out in that game 6, hoping that we were going to be able to close the series out there.
So if you had a chance to do it again, you would not have played in game 6 due to your back.
Looks like Scottie Pippen is laboring as he moves up and down the court. A back injury is one of the most crippling of injuries.
And if it went to game 7, you were not going to be able to contribute. Okay, so again, who carried y'all then if you couldn't go because of your back hurting?
Jordan, open, Chicago with the lead.
You're already not making sense, Scottie, but let's continue.
You know, one of the things in The Last Dance, you know, Scottie, when, you know, we saw you in the game 6 and how hard it was. And as a former teammate and everybody that's played with you, we all recognize that you're one of the toughest guys that we've ever played with. You don't miss games. You don't miss practice. It takes a lot for you to actually, you know, miss a game or miss practice. And it seemed like in that Last Dance that, you know, that was questioned some, you know, like, oh, he waited to have surgery this time and he didn't have surgery when, you know, whatever. And that's what I thought was really bad, a bad take, you know, to have that on there. So what was your thinking of that when that was on The Last Dance?
Well, I didn't, again, I looked at it once and I just, I was a little disappointed. I was more disappointed with what the NBA did. I thought that they really set all this up. They really got a lot of the footage and things from the players to be able to volunteer, thinking that, you know, this was supposed to be about the team. And from what Phil Jackson, who was on your show, expressed to the team, and me, I was one of the leaders on it, to allow us to have video, to follow us that season. So we open up a lot for the NBA to be able to deal and get into our private life. And we felt that as a team, at least I did as a leader, that from what it was expressed to me, that it would be something that would be fruitful for us as a group. But it turned out that the NBA sort of turned their backs on the players and pretty much sold the video to Michael, or gave it to him. But as we all know, Michael has always had a different hand inside with the league. He was always dealt with separately, differently, and however you want to break it down. So that's really what it all boiled down to at the end of the day.
Okay, that's weird. Stacey King, how are you going to be saying that the way that Scottie Pippen's surgery was framed was like somebody else doing it, trying to make it seem like he was not a team player? Scottie Pippen was the one that said this.
I had a ruptured tendon in my ankle, and I decided to have surgery late because I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna fuck my summer up.
Huh?
Trying to rehab for a season. You know, they're not gonna be looking forward to having me, so I'm gonna enjoy my summer and I'll use the season to prepare.
You know, it's hard for me to take somebody like Stacey King seriously when Stacey King is the person that said this about Michael Jordan years ago.
I had a poster of Michael Jordan on my wall. So when I would go to the game, I would actually rub the poster, you know, one time, sometimes twice if I wanted to have a really, really good game. And I'd go out and score 30, 40. And so I always attributed touching MJ's poster brought me luck. So my first game, come in, I felt like I didn't need the poster anymore because, you know, I got Michael Jordan next to me now. I remember going out, getting ready to go shoot. Michael was had his shirt off. He's got his North Carolina shorts on. So he's in the middle of getting dressed, you know, which is kind of awkward if you think about this story I'm going to tell you. I start to walk out and I go, hey, you know what? I used to touch his poster. I think I'm gonna touch him. What luck with that? That'll be really awesome because I get to touch the real guy now, and that'll bring me luck.
All right.
So I walk over to MJ. He's, you know, his shirt's off. He's got his back turned to me. He's in his North Carolina shorts. He's getting dressed. And I walk over, and I rub him twice.
Oh, no, you didn't. Wait a minute. No, you didn't.
Now that I look back on it, it was kind of awkward. So he looks at me, he's like, what are you doing? I said, oh man, I used to touch your poster when I was in college, man. It used to bring me luck. He said, man, get away from me, dude. Don't be doing that.
Y'all niggas are gay.
I'm like, and I didn't think it was weird at the time, but then I looked back and I said, oh yeah, that might have been a little bit crossing the line. But after that, I didn't have to touch him anymore. He said, don't ever touch me again. I'm on your team. So I'm like, okay, cool.
So this whole framing of making it seem like Scottie Pippen is this just the greatest teammate and he fights through everything, and no, there's evidence of the contrary. And Pippen out of his own mouth even talked about how he didn't care and he wasn't wasting his summer getting surgery. He was going to do it during the season and all this stuff. That does not sound like a team player, and it does not sound like somebody who wants to also keep the team together and show everybody he's a leader and all these other things. And also, while he was hurt, he demanded to be traded.
Well, it's not to the point that I want to, slap a shot back at management in any way. I'm not going to say that, I'm going to put one on. I'm not going to say that I'm going to be put in a situation where I'm going to be forced to put one on, but I'm not going to play there anymore. And that's that. And I have that freedom and I have that right to do that.
Pippen, Jerry Krause, Phil Jackson will just have to wait and see over the next several weeks how it unfolds. The one factor is that Scottie Pippen right now is not healthy enough to play. When he is healthy enough to play, that's when we'll determine what happens next in this whole scenario.
So Scottie Pippen with this revisionist history, Stacey King with this revisionist history, this is crazy. We saw The Last Dance, we saw what it was. And the other part is, Scottie Pippen, you seriously thought that they were going to do this whole thing about the Bulls team and The Last Dance and all of this, and it was not going to be centered around Jordan. You really thought it was not going to be centered around Michael Jordan. You ain't this dumb, Scottie. No. Let's continue.
Well, Scottie, obviously that story of The Last Dance was told from Michael's perspective, and it was his slant on looking back on the championship years. But one of the things that came through as you mentioned, a lot of young people aren't familiar with the 90s Bulls. One of the things that really came through loud and clear was how mean and cruel that Jordan could be to his teammates. I know that in talking to Stacey and so many guys on those 90s teams, they always say that Scottie Pippen was our favorite teammate because he was supportive and he cared about everybody on the squad. How important was that role to the success of the team where Jordan could be so heavy-handed, you were a guy who lifted the other guys up?
I'll put it like this. Of all my years I played in Chicago and played with Michael, I never saw one free agent come to the Bulls and said that they want to play there with Michael. I do recall a couple of them coming there during the off season when he retired, or the 2 years that he was away from the game. So I say that to say this. The success of the Bulls came from a team. It didn't come from Michael Jordan. It didn't come from him being critical of other players. If anything, that discouraged players, because no player wants to be talked down to, belittled, or even made fun of to some way. And I felt like those were a lot of things that were brought out in that documentary. You couldn't change how he spoke to his teammate. It was on video. You couldn't change how he criticized his teammates. It's on video. So to look at his character as a player, none of that was driving us into winning.
Well, here's the thing though, Scottie. Yes, there are some teammates like you and Stacey King and, Scott Williams who don't agree with how Jordan did. But there's several teammates that did agree with what Jordan did because they said it drove them to win. Now, Scottie, you mentioned that after Jordan retired, that there was these free agents coming to the Bulls and all of this. Well, let's take a look. Looks like the Bulls didn't get much of anybody, but Pippen, why lie anyway? We all know that the 90s was an era where people weren't just leaving teams, going to other teams. Pretty much where you got drafted was where you was going to be. It was like in the midnight, like when Barkley left Philadelphia to go to Phoenix, that was like a big deal. Like that just was not a thing. And y'all got so many free agents when Jordan wasn't there that you were caught on camera begging for Jordan to come back.
There's some major league selling going on here in the United Center, not just from fans, but from players alike.
So to even make it seem like that is ridiculous. But then on top of that, it's not even true. Y'all didn't get, what free agents did y'all get? Oh yeah, y'all got somebody named Tony Kukoc. You was hating on Tony Kukoc before he even got to the NBA, Scottie Pippen. And then the great teammate that you are did this.
Phil Jackson was in the huddle diagramming the last play. Kukoc was to take the last shot, and Pippen didn't like it. He sat down. Phil Jackson came over to him, said, "Get back in the huddle, back in the game." And Pippen said, "No way." That's when things really started.
You disloyal, fool-ass, bitch-made punk.
It became very heated, a very animated exchange between Jackson and Pippen. Jackson called the second timeout, and that's when Bulls assistant coach Johnny Bach and teammate Horace Graham came over to Pippen and said, "Hey, get back in the game." They were attempting to persuade him to go back in. Pippen didn't budge.
How many of us have them friends? Ones we can depend on. Friends.
And then for a second time, Jackson came over to Pippen and said, "Get in the game." Pippen didn't move.
So you're such a great teammate that when the play wasn't drawn up for you, you wouldn't even go into the game hoping that y'all would lose, only to see Tony Kukoc make the shot for the game winner.
Myers triggers the inbounds pass. Kukoc for the win. It goes!
How did Phil Jackson feel about that after the game?
As far as the last play of the game goes, Scottie Pippen was not involved in that play. He asked out of the play. I left him off the floor. That's as much as I'll talk about that, and we have practice tomorrow at 11 o'clock.
Okay, well, let's see what you said after the game, Mr. Great Teammate.
It wasn't pretty much Phil taking me out of the game. It was like, we exchanged words and I just took a seat.
So it was your decision based on frustration?
Excuse me?
Scottie, Phil just said you weren't in because you asked out of the play.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's why you weren't involved in it.
Exactly.
When you say exchange words, what happened?
I have no comments on that.
This is all cap from Scottie Pippen. This whole thing where you're making it seem like Jordan, bro, y'all won 6 championships with him as the leader. I don't understand how we even talking about this at this point. Y'all won 6 championships because of Jordan being the leader, not you. We literally saw what would happen if Jordan wasn't on the team and you were the leader. You were a terrible leader. Period. But let's continue.
So Pippen, we had Phil Jackson on, and so I think our listeners want to know, you play for the guy. What's your relationship now with Phil?
Oh man, we don't have much of a relationship. I haven't talked to Phil since my playing days.
Wow.
Yeah, I think being out on the West Coast competing against the Lakers, back in the early 2000s, it got a little bit sour there. It was a little competitive, the Portland and Laker thing. So our relationship, but me and Phil relationship has never been strong. I respect his coaching. He's great at what he do, but he's just a different kind of guy, and I just never felt away from the game that he was in my corner.
Hey, speaking of other guys you played
And
for, Scottie.
Even with the game, you know, I look back at my years playing with the Bulls and how things sort of ended up. Like, I just don't know if he was ever in my corner, you know? And I say that to say him as well as Michael, just kind of how things were handled the last couple of years going through their contract. Like, they want one more year and this and that, you know, and I'm just sitting over there like, I don't care how many years they give you. I'm out of here.
You disloyal, fool-ass, bitch-made punk.
Wow.
You know, so that was, you know, he just really turned sour to me his last couple of years of coaching. Not that that took anything away from me as a player or how I played the game or anything, but it was more, he became selfish. And when you're around selfish people, then things just, it really was the breakup of our team, to be honest. You know, one selfish guy on the team, another selfish guy coaching the team. It was time for a divorce.
Hey, Pippen, by your own words, you were a terrible teammate, bro. Because you're claiming that Jordan was selfish. You're claiming that Phil Jackson was selfish. But out of your mouth, you said that they wanted to put their selfish differences aside and do one more year, try to get another championship. And you were the selfish one, like, man, they can do it all they want. I'm out of here. You were the selfish one, Scottie. You felt like you should have been getting Jordan-type accolades, but you didn't. And what is this Jordan's fault? This is Phil Jackson's fault? Again, you had beef with Jerry Krause, Phil Jackson, and Michael Jordan. But all of them don't even like each other.
You know, Jerry Krause is right there, and Jerry's not here. Obviously, I don't know who invited him. I didn't, but I hope he understands. I hope he understands it goes a long way, and he was a very competitive person. I was a very competitive person. He said organization wins championships. I said, I didn't see organization playing with the flu in Utah. I didn't see him playing with the bad ankle.
Michael Jordan does not like Jerry Krause, bro. And we all know this. So I'm trying to understand, Scottie, if they were willing to put all these differences aside, still play with Krause and all this stuff, and you were the one saying you didn't want to do it no more, how are they selfish and you not selfish? It sounds like those two people were putting everything aside to try to get another championship, and you were on your prima donna shit.
Do you ever see yourself, Pip, like as the years go on, as you get older, that you one day speak to Phil? And how about Michael? Do you ever feel like you guys will ever, rekindle something?
I don't. No. Stacey, you've been around Michael. You've been around Phil. And I just, their egos are huge, and I don't bow down to people like that. Phil Jackson coming from being a CBA coach. Jerry Krause gave him a chance that he had never, or probably wouldn't have never received. And then he turned and shit on the guy, pretty much, Yeah. If anybody had a reason to be mad at Krause, it was me. And it wasn't Phil Jackson. Wasn't even Michael. He criticizes Krause about organizations not winning championships. Well, that's who get the credit.
Yeah.
And I think it makes a lot of sense what Jerry said. I mean, it's hand in hand, Jerry was speaking for his team, his scouting, his part of his group that really brought the team together. He wasn't talking about the people that's doing the marketing. He wasn't talking about the people that's downtown that's, selling tickets. He said organizations win championships, which there's a little bit of truth to that. That's who drafted us, right?
Yeah.
So organizations win championships. Yes, they all go hand in hand together. But at the end of the day, if the buckets aren't put in the rim, then it's a wrap. If you're not getting points, you're not getting more points than other team. If you can't score at least one more point than other team, then it's all for nothing. You won't win any championships, which is insane because, again, you just using whoever you can to try to discredit Phil Jackson and Michael Jordan. In one breath, you just said that if anybody should be mad at Krause, it's you. You let it be known you were mad at Krause, bruh. You let it be known. So, okay, so now Jerry Krause is the good guy in this scenario against Michael Jordan and Phil Jackson. And you are what? You were just there being the great teammate, holding all this together while saying, I want to leave. This makes no sense. Pippen's all over the place, bro. Let's continue.
And I tell people all the time, Pip, they don't, I mean, listen, I was there when you had the migraine. I was there. I mean, you was in tears. You couldn't see, double vision. And when people...
And I still played most of the game.
Exactly.
You know?
But so anybody who would ever question your toughness, all the guys who play with you, who've been on this show, have all concurred the same thing. You're considered the best teammate. When people ask me, who's the best teammate, who's the best guy you ever play with, I always say Scottie Pippen. Scott Williams says the same thing. BJ says the same thing. So it's not something that the outside people really know, but we all know.
Yeah. Well, I tell you guys, and I forgot to even mention Scott Williams, that guy, what a good role that he played for us. I mean, just an amazing guy. He had a great story. His path in life is truly amazing, and I definitely would love to get his book and read it. I'm sure it's pretty amazing. But Scott was, again, a huge contributor, a different kind of guy, but we knew how to deal with him, and he was just special for us.
And I tell people all the time, Pip, they don't, I mean, listen, I was there when you had the migraine. I was there. I mean, you was in tears. You couldn't see, double vision. And when people...
And I still played most of the game.
Exactly.
Scottie Pippen was haunted by the migraine headache that occurred in the 7th game of last season's Eastern Conference Final. The Bulls lost to Detroit. They were walloped as Pippen went 1 for 10 from the field.
But anybody who would ever question your toughness, all the guys who play with you, who've been on this show, have all concurred the same thing. You're considered the best teammate. When people ask me, who's the best teammate, who's the best guy you ever play with, I always say Scottie Pippen. Scott Williams says the same thing. BJ says the same thing. So it's not something that the outside people really know, but we all know.
Yeah. Well, I tell you guys, and I forgot to even mention Scott Williams, that guy, what a good role that he played for us. I mean, just an amazing guy. He had a great story. His path in life is truly amazing, and I definitely would love to get his book and read it. I'm sure it's pretty amazing. But Scott was, again, a huge contributor, a different kind of guy, but we knew how to deal with him, and he was just special for us.
So I started to look up Scott Williams when he was on the Gimme the Hot Sauce podcast with Stacey King, until I remembered that Scott Williams was the awesome teammate that said this.
Another Scottie gate. After sleeping through this morning's shoot-around, Scott Williams reiterated in the strongest possible terms he'll not be back with the Bulls after the playoffs.
This has nothing to do with me missing practice today, but this has been a very disappointing season as far as me receiving the minutes that I've felt as though I deserved through the course of my playing and, of course, of what I've done here in the past. Chicago Bulls have treated me like and I'm ready to move on.
Scott Williams really has no credibility with me of him talking about anything to do with the Bulls, but whatever. So let's get to Scottie's migraine. Scottie, you went 1 for 10, bro, with the migraine. You can't sit here and try to take credit for playing through the migraine when you were not effective at all. And it always just seems like you be having these injuries. Like, looking back on it now, you had a lot of LeBron level phantom injuries where it was like you had injuries that people couldn't prove.
That's the Scottie migraine game, right?
Yeah. It was, just something that I feel that just came over me, and I just wasn't able to produce. And, I just hope it doesn't happen again.
He said he had a migraine. I can't argue the point that he had a migraine. It was just one of those things that, is so unfortunate.
People can't really prove if your back is really hurt. People can't really prove if you got a headache and have double vision and whatnot. I suffer from migraines, so I know it to be true. But one thing I know is I couldn't sit in no arena with all the lights like that if I had a true migraine. But Stacey King, he knows, Stacey King can easily vouch for you having double vision.
Not the cap.
Let's continue.
And I tell people all the time, Pip, listen, I was there when you had the migraine. I was there. You was in tears, question, who's the best seaman? Who's the best? Oh, no.
To get his book and read it, I'm sure it's still with him and call out a greatest player. What makes Michael Jordan great for us?
Give us the way you
There is
scored it.
not a greatest player. I'm gonna put myself in there if you're gonna call out a greatest player. What makes Michael Jordan great?
By Petrovic, up. No way. Yes.
Because he had the media give him MVPs.
Join me in congratulating you, Charles Barkley, the 1992-93 National Basketball Association Most Valuable Player. Congratulations. But congratulations, Karl Malone, 1996-97 NBA Most Valuable Player.
Jokic is great, and they didn't even put him on the motherfucking team this year. So, I don't understand what people say makes people great, because I saw a fucking 2-time, should have been 3-time MVP not even get picked by his peers.
No, I will not draft myself either. I'm not meant for this game.
Wow.
So I don't ever want to hear about a great fucking player unless he's winning. LeBron James is probably one of the greatest winners to ever play the game.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
He wins.
Fires away, and there's the buzzer. The San Antonio Spurs are NBA champions once again. Their 4th title in 9 years. And the celebration will begin. The Dallas Mavericks are NBA champions. The first title in franchise history. Set to tick off. San Antonio is back on top once again. The Spurs are the 2014 NBA champions.
And the dream season is now complete. The Golden State Warriors are the 2015 NBA champions. Their first title in 40 years. And how sweet it must be for those crazy loyal Bay Area fans.
Curry, 3, bang! The Warriors are NBA champions again. There's the buzzer. There's a new dynasty in the NBA. The Golden State Warriors champions once again, back-to-back titles, 3 in 4 years.
He ain't won that many championships, but he been in the finals. Name somebody else that can win and get to where he's got.
And the Chicago Bulls have won their first ever NBA championship. Time running down. The Chicago Bulls have won the NBA championship for the 2nd straight season. The Chicago Bulls have won 3 straight NBA championships. Second, the Chicago Bulls have won the 95-96 NBA championship. In regulation, the inbound. Pippen lost it. Quick coach. The Chicago Bulls have won their 5th championship in the last 7 years. Just 0.6 of a second remaining.
It comes off. The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th
NBA championship, and it's their second three-peat.
Shaq, Reggie turns, pumps it up, off the rim, and the Lakers are the 2000 NBA champions.
Coming up on 10 seconds remaining, and the Los Angeles Lakers will make it a second straight NBA crown. What class? The Los Angeles Lakers have made it 3 straight NBA championships.
As the buzzer sounds, it's official. The Lakers are NBA champions once again. LA wins the 2009 NBA title.
Won't go. Rebound to So. Kicks it out to Odom. Odom throws it ahead. The Lakers repeat back-to-back titles.
Now, does that make him the greatest player to ever play the game? No. Michael Jordan probably is one of the greatest individual scorers that we've ever seen, but probably not. It's probably Kareem.
Everybody's waving their arms. It's into Kareem. Kareem swing left, right hand, 12-footer, good!
So it's hard for me to say who's the greatest player to play in the game. I didn't even see Bill Russell play. And I've never given Bill Russell any credit to his game because I've never seen him play. I've seen video clips, but I've never sit down and watched a game with Bill Russell. I've watched him play clips long enough to know if I like watching him play or not. And I can tell you, I'm not a fan of his style of play.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he's not great, but I can't put him on to be the greatest player I ever seen or the greatest winner I ever seen, like I can do LeBron. LeBron is the greatest winner. He done got older now and he gets criticized a lot. He's never been a shot maker. He's never been the guy that's going to take the last shot.
Finds James, takes the pass, falling away, baseline shot, side of the backboard.
He's never been great at that. But I said this many years ago, and I got criticized for it. When LeBron James leaves the game, he will be the greatest statistical player to ever play the game.
Michael Jordan is probably the greatest scorer to ever play in the game. But I may go as far as to say LeBron James may be the greatest player to ever play the game because he's so potent offensively that not only can he score at will, but he keeps everybody involved. And you have to be on your P's and Q's on defense because no guy on the basketball court is not a threat to score when LeBron James is out there.
Look at my point this day, probably 15 years later, because I said it when he was 2-3 years in the game, because he was filling up the stats every game. And so they made the comparison, who's greater, him or Michael? Like, LeBron will be the greatest statistical guy to ever play the game of basketball. And there's no comparison to him. None. So, does that make him the greatest player to ever play the game? I'll leave that out for debating because I don't believe that there's a great player because our game is a team game and one player can't do it. Like, I seen Michael Jordan play before I came to play with the Bulls. You guys seen him play.
Jordan driving. He'll go for it. Yeah, he got it. He got it. He got it.
Remaining 5 seconds left. Here's Jordan. 3 seconds left. And Jordan hits.
He's a horrible player. He was horrible to play with. He was all one-on-one. He's shooting bad shots. And all of a sudden, we become a team and we start winning. Everybody forgot who he was. Everybody forgot who he was. He was a player that really winning wasn't at the top of his category.
I'm out, man. That nigga's tripping.
It was scoring. He was going after scoring titles. It wasn't until Phil Jackson showed up that kind of changed the menu a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And that still took some time.
Yeah.
So, Scottie, You are telling me that LeBron James is a better winner than Michael Jordan, and he's a better winner than Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant does not have all these highlights of losing in the finals. Michael Jordan does not have all these highlights of losing in the finals, which technically are lowlights, if you will. And I do remember Kobe losing, and I also remember Kobe walking off the floor with the confetti walking on him, and I remember him coming back and winning the championship against the Celtics 2 years later in 2010. So this is weird that you're trying to make LeBron into this just great statistical player ever, which what does that even mean? Aren't championships part of the stats? Championships are part of the stats. And then you have the audacity to say Michael Jordan was a horrible player before you got there. Well, let's take a look at that Scottie Pippen and see how true that is. So let's look at Michael Jordan in his first 3 years in the NBA compared to your first 3 years in the NBA, because he played 3 seasons without you. So Michael Jordan played 182 games to your 234. Michael Jordan broke his foot. But then after that, the onslaught comes on. 31.7 points a game, 5.6 rebounds, 5 assists, 2.6 steals, 1.2 blocks, shooting 49% from the field, only shooting 17% from 3. You had him there shooting 25%, shooting 85% from the line, 49% effective field goal percentage. He won 1 first team All-NBA, 2 All-NBAs, and 3 All-Star appearances. You had 1 All-Star appearance in your first 3 seasons. But let's compare some more. So let's look at Michael Jordan and yours first season together. Okay, so Michael Jordan played 82 games. You played 79. You started no games that season. You didn't start a single game that season. Michael Jordan averaged 35 points, 5.5 rebounds, 5.9 assists, 3.2 steals, 1.6 blocks, 53% from the field, still only shot 13% from 3. You beat him there at 17%, 84% from the line to your 57%, and he had an effective field goal percentage of 53.7%, first team All-NBA, first team All-Defense, MVP, and Defensive Player of the Year, and of course he went to the All-Star game. Okay, so now let's look at your first 3 seasons with Michael, and let's see how that compared. Michael averaged 33.7 points a game, 6.8 rebounds, 6.8 assists, 2.9 steals, 1 block, 53% from the field. His 3-point shooting is now better than yours at 31% to your 25%, shooting 84% from the line, 54% effective field goal percentage, 3 All-Star appearances, a Defensive Player of the Year, MVP, 3 All-Defenses, 3 All-NBAs, 3 first-team All-NBAs, and you had 1 All-Star appearance. So this whole thing where you're trying to make it seem like you were the one that came and kicked Michael Jordan in the gear, nah, you came there and learned what it was, and I'm pretty sure it was Michael Jordan who kicked you into gear. This is outrageous, Scottie. I can't believe I had to dig up all this stuff because of you. This is outrageous, bro. What about your time in Portland? Did your time in Portland end real good?
Jack, 26 points, 12 rebounds, 3 blocks. Kobe, 25, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and the game-saving block. And they're
okay. Did you win a championship in Houston?
Both of those series going the limit. They'll play their 5th games tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night. This one is over in 4. The Lakers knocked the Rockets off. Charles Barkley played heroically in defeat throughout the series, and his Game 3 on Thursday night was really one of the best playoff performances in recent years in the entire league.
Oh, okay. So, at the end of all of this, you got 6 rings, and it's not because of Jordan, it's not because of Phil Jackson, it's because of you and Jerry Krause? Michael Jordan was a horrible player. Bro, are you serious? By any metric, nobody is sitting here saying that you were the reason that Michael Jordan got good, bro. Michael Jordan was great before you got there, and you're one of the top 75 players in the world sitting here acting like that's not because of Michael Jordan. You would have never made the top 75 if you didn't play with Jordan. That's just what it is.
Yeah, this is... My thing I've always told people is, and you know, Jerry Krause, you know, rest in peace, Jerry Krause doesn't get a lot of, you know, a credit, you know, to put two different teams. These were two different championship teams. The only holdovers were you and MJ. Everybody else was totally different. And to take two teams to 2 3-peats, that man doesn't get enough credit. You know, people want to, you know, they call him crumbs and you know what, but he doesn't get the respect that he deserves. Now, some of that was Jerry's fault. You know, some of the things that was going on behind the scenes might have been Jerry's fault a little bit. But as far as knowing how to put a team together and get the right pieces, that man was one of the best. If his name was Jerry West, he'd be, you know, in the Hall of Fame. He'd be a statue built of him. He just doesn't get enough of the credit.
Before I even let Pippen answer that, Stacey King, have you lost your mind? Hey, bro, you literally just said that Jerry Krause was the reason he didn't get all the credit he should have gotten. But why are you bringing up him getting a statue according to Jerry West? You know Jerry West is the logo of the NBA, right, you fool? Like, yeah, Jerry West is going to have statues and stuff because he was Mr. Clutch, remember? Like, this is weird that you're trying to now compare Jerry Krause to Jerry West. And then you also bring up the point that Michael Jordan and Pippen were basically the only people on all of those teams. Then how are you not giving Jordan the credit?
Exactly.
This is confusing. But go ahead and respond, Pip.
No, he didn't. But that's what happens when you got people beating you down, trying to tear you down. I won't mention any names. But
sometimes I dream.
That's what happens. But
he is me.
Like Mike, if I could be like Mike.
Definitely deserve more credit. And, you know, everybody deserves credit. And that wasn't done by no one individual. That wasn't, you know. Johnny Red Kerr deserved credit, you know. Love Big Johnny.
Red.
Oh, yeah.
To see what they do to combat that. You know, it's a great laughter before I go out and play.
Check this out, MJ.
Just one out, MJ. You got it, baby.
All right, here we go.
Hey, we got him. We finally got him.
So it was all a collective effort, you know, whether Red was telling me, hey, you need to take the ball to the hole or, you know, anything, any little bit of information that he gave me was definitely a contribution.
You literally told Jerry Krause to trade you. You were mad that Jerry Krause wanted to sign Tony Kukoc. So for you to just double back and sit here and be like, yeah, I don't like Michael Jordan and I love Jerry Krause, this just seems like some hater shit to the core. Same with you, Stacey King. Y'all both sitting up there just hating, sitting here talking about how you love Jerry Krause now and all these other ridiculous things. But I'm going to tell you the truth. Like, yes, Pippen's been hating on Jordan a little bit here and there throughout history and whatnot. But what has sent Scottie Pippen over the edge? This has sent Scottie Pippen over the edge. As much as I want to just utterly annihilate Scottie Pippen, bro, he lost his wife. And not only did he lose his wife, he lost his wife to Michael Jordan's son. This is why I think Michael Jordan ain't really getting out here saying much of anything, because we all know that Michael Jordan is super petty. Michael Jordan is super petty. So don't think for one second that he would let all this slander on his name go. But you kind of have to, Mike, because as much as I just want to blame Pippen for all this, bro, he lost his wife, and he lost his wife to Michael Jordan's son. He felt like he's been in Michael Jordan's shadow his whole entire adult life, which is true. And now his son took his wife. Do you agree with Scottie Pippen? Do you think his comments have gone too far? Do you think that he's hurt over this Marcus Jordan and ex-wife situation? Or do you think he's totally right? You know, do you think he's right, or do you think Pippen need to just shut up? Get in the comments right now. Is Pippen right or is Pippen wrong? Man, Pippen wrong, bro. But is he okay to do it? Is it okay for him to say all of this because of what Marcus Jordan is doing? Get in the comments and let me know. We'll be back with more NBA playoff updates. Congratulations to the Miami Heat on beating the Boston Celtics. I don't even think Boston showed up to the game, but congratulations to the Miami Heat. Do you think Jimmy Butler should have got MVP? I guess we'll see what's going to happen in NBA Finals. Denver Nuggets versus the Miami Heat in Denver for Game 1 of the NBA Finals. Stay tuned right here for more NBA playoff updates right here on LNC Sports. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on a single update. God is great. Peace.
He's a rookie here.
We got an interview by you today.
He get treatment like this. When tweet next year this time, all right? All right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All rookies, no matter how rich and talented, have to earn the respect of the veterans.
Watch that. All right.